Today I would like to talk about the new ISG about Network and Service Management, which was aimed in order to enable agile service delivery and new business opportunities. So a little bit to summarize what Luis already mentioned, what are the trends and the market drivers for this zero-touch network and service management? So the rapid business digitalization and automation of all major industries which support a similar level of business agility and flexibility, this is something that operators also feel that they need to provide the same experience to their customers. The increase in overall complexity which is created by the transformation of the network into programmable, software-driven, service-based architecture, this is something that you cannot deliver any longer with human capabilities only, you need automation. And also, new business models and value creation enabled by technology breakthrough like network slicing impose unprecedented operational agility and higher cooperation across network domain, which absolutely need automation. So all of these trends and markets have also the trigger, which Luis also mentioned, and that this is the disruptive deployment of 5G, which triggered the need for network and service transformation and radical change in the way that we manage and operate our networks. So it's very clear that end-to-end automation of network and service management becomes an urgent necessity. So what is the current state in the industry? What we can do in order to make automation. So looking at what happens in the industry in terms of standards, open source projects, I must say that it's an unprecedented situation that we face in the industry. And there are multiple inconsistent management frameworks in the industry, many silos, lack of alignment, lack of interoperability. Many open source projects are popping up and there is no holistic way to see the end-to-end and how all these are working together and aligned together. And it is essential for the industry in order to move to automation in a way that can work in multi-vendor environment, to move into an environment that leverage synergies and achieve alignment through convergence on a single end-to-end network and service management architecture. We believe that there is room for standards, there is room for open source, and they need to work together in iterative mode. Standards need to define specifications, end-to-end architecture, this is their expertise. Open source should focus on implementation and validation and feedback information into the standardization work. And if we work in alignment, we can ensure that we have a single architecture that we can all follow and provide common foundation for the different open source projects that they can provide interoperable solutions. So the ETSI ZSM was founded at the end of last year by 14 founding members. Out of them, there were 5 operators, all tier 1 vendors, technology providers, cloud providers, and the key objective was to enable future operational processes and tasks to be executed automatically end-to-end. And we wanted also to accelerate the work in order to ensure that we can have an architecture that spans both legacy and virtualized network infrastructure. It was formed, as I said before, under the auspices of ETSI, and this is a great platform that ETSI provides us to do something very quickly and agile and very professional and quality-based. And ETSI is absolutely the perfect place to do that because it brings all the technologies together. It enables this convergence of IT and networking and technologies and internet and clouds and everything around it. And we want to facilitate, we don't want to work as a new and separated, isolated organization. We want to work together with other organizations. What we want to do is to see the end-to-end network and service management and to facilitate the collaboration with relevant open source projects, standardization bodies, and fora. So we need to work together in alignment with other organizations. Each of them has their own expertise, matter of expertise, and work together with open source that will implement and validate and provide feedback back. And we want to harmonize the industry back and provide it and converge it around a single architecture. And we believe that by doing that, as I said before, we will provide a common foundation to enable a diverse ecosystem of open source groups to produce interoperable solutions, which is a key for operators. The ZSM group, as I said, I didn't say, but the first kickoff meeting was on January, second meeting was on March. We're heading towards the third meeting. We have weekly calls And the group is going and continue to grow in a very steady and healthy pace. We started with particular amounts of members, and since the kickoff and the second meeting, we already have an increase of 54%, if I'm not wrong. So we see that we have many tier one operators, many vendors, many technology providers, and this is really good. And what we really want to see also, a lot of web scales joining us, providing their expertise and their experience that we can utilize the technology where applicable. So what we are working on, so at the ISG, we are working on 6 documents at the moment. The first document is 001. It is about the use case and requirements. So this will be a specification that indicates what are the requirements to enable end-to-end network and service architecture. The second document is about a reference architecture. This will be end-to-end, horizontal and vertical end-to-end. That means cross-layer, cross-domain, cross-technology. And this will be a reference architecture. And then we are working on end-to-end management and orchestration of network slicing. This will also be a specification, but this is already a solution document, particular to network slicing. So this document, all the relevant use cases and all the relevant architectural aspects will be part of 001 and 002. And when these are stable, we will start working on the end-to-end solution for network slicing. But at the same time, we can start working on understanding what is happening in the industry, what is available, what we can leverage for the use of the future work. 004 is a landscape document. It's a report which learns, study what is available in this context of end-to-end network and service automation. And 005 is a very, very valuable document. It's a report that we are working on, which explore different means how to automate different aspects, how to automate the workflow, how to automate the decision-making, how to automate the assurance, how to automate the interaction between different components and devices. And then this will explore existing and emerging means, and this can be, first of all, used later on by the ZSM work, but also it's good, I think, information for the industry to learn about the possibilities and what is available. And the last document is about a POC framework. POC is a very important tool to demonstrate the viability of a technology. You can demonstrate that this is possible, you can learn from that and feedback information back into the specification work. So we encourage POCs in the context of ETSI ZSM. The framework actually present the criteria how POCs can accept it. There are POC teams, which it's a multi-entity project that work to demonstrate particular topic, and the topics are defined along the lifetime of the ISG. And as I said, we require that each POC is demonstrated in public at least once or twice, and that we have a report out of this to understand what was the architecture, what were the constraints, the challenges, and to learn a little bit more that we can utilize it in our standardization work. And, okay, I think I already mentioned that. And what are the working principles that we have? So, first of all, we are working on the requirements, and then we derive the architecture. And once we finish with the architecture, we'll do some gap analysis to understand what is available to solve the architecture and the requirement. And we will look at the industry, both in ETSI and external to ETSI, to analyze if there are appropriate solutions that we can leverage to provide the end-to-end solution. We also want to learn from the POC and from other open source projects, and we ensure that all the deliverables that we are working on will be openly published. That means that even before a specification is published, everyone in the industry can see that as a working draft. It's not a specification. It may change, of course, but it gives a direction that people understand where we are going, but it's also an opportunity to get feedback from the industry and to see what we do great, what maybe we could change, etc. So as I said, what is next? We will conduct on gap analysis to ensure that the existing activities are not duplicated and that the barrier for end-to-end automation is addressed. And if we find a gap that we need to fill, in. So if this is something that can be solved in another organization which has the expertise on that, we will ask this organization to develop the solution. We will work with them to help and advise. And if this is not possible, we will fill it by ourselves. So just to talk about, again, harmonization and collaboration, because I believe that this is the main message that I want to provide out of this session, is that cooperation and alignment with other SDOs, including in ETSI, and also in open source projects, is essential to promote the adoption and alignment with the ZSM architecture and solution, and achieve automated end-to-end network and service management. And this is critical because no one can provide just a piece of that. A piece of that will not automate in efficient way the end-to-end services. At the end of the day, what we want to do is to deliver services in a way which is agile and provide extreme experience to our customers. And what we intend to do is to have an open dialogue with the related organizations. So the idea is, if I manage, is that we learn the requirements from the industry, we develop the architecture, we work close with industry organizations which have the expertise, the domain of expertise, like 3GPP that works on mobile, like a Broadband Forum, like other organizations, to develop the solutions in alignment and also work in iteration with the open source and commercial implementations that they can implement, they can validate and feed back information into the specification work. And this can also accelerate the specification work because this is something that needs to be done. All additional information can be found in the ETSI portal. There is the term of reference of this group, the technology page. We have a FNQ. We have the list of members, and we have also a white paper that was written by operators about the necessity of automation, and they also try to provide their priorities about what needs to be done first. And we will learn about this later also in this forum today. Maybe just one update about the dialogue with other organizations. So we already approached all related organizations by a liaison, and we started exchanging that, and we are working into joint collaboration. For example, BBF already asked us to evaluate some of their documents and see how we can support that. And 3GPP SA5 the same, and others, and ENI from ETSI. And also we have the open source, the big one, of course, which is ONAP, and also OSM. And concerning the open source projects, we decided to take a different approach, to approach them directly on the management level and see how we can collaborate together. In parallel, ETSI is working with this organization to set up the cooperation agreement, but as a group from ZSM and ONAP, or Linux Foundation Networking, it was very clear that the management of these organizations see the benefits of working together. They understand that they complement each other. It's not a competition. They complement each other. They need to work together, and they are willing to do that. And in general, the approach that we learned is that in open source, if there are specifications, they would like to implement that. If there are no specifications, they of course need to develop ones. So we need to speed up, and this is the challenge that we have with the open source, because the pace of the work, it's a little bit different. Open source is usually much faster than standardization work, but standardization work is something that holds more for the long term. It's consider every existing, emerging, and future use cases. Open source is tailored probably usually for particular use cases. So these boards needs to work together, and this will be for the benefit of the industry. So maybe just to conclude with my epilogue on that, we have just marked a very exciting journey towards the automation transformation, and we believe that this will help operators to meet the user expectation that was set up, by the way, by WebScales for service agility and create business opportunities. And we intend to derive a very highly focused and agile industry effort to involve key players spanning the breadth of the ecosystem. And it's very important for me to mention the ISG format of ETSI is open for both ETSI members and non-ETSI members. So everyone can join the activity and help and contribute. And I would like to welcome and call you to join us and help us to define the best solution, best architecture, and contribute to that and help us also to demonstrate the POCs. And everyone that is interested, please approach us. Luis is here, I'm here, maybe others also from ETSI. Please approach us. We will help you to understand how you can join us. You don't need to be an ETSI member. You better be, but if you're not, you can join and help us with doing that. Okay, so this is my presentation. And to continue this forum, it was very important for us to continue, first of all, to learn a little bit about industry trends and market opportunities. And for that, we wanted to get some overview or insight or opinion from an analyst. So I will call for that for a moment, and then to have two panels. One of them is operators panels to understand what are the requirements, what is the vision, long-term vision, and what are the short-term priorities, and then to talk to vendors to see how we can support these requirements. So I'm delighted to invite here Tim Deron from ACG Research. He's a principal analyst in ACG Research, leading the firm's intelligent networking practice. Tim's work is focused on network innovations and transformation in areas of packet optical networking, data center interconnect, transport, multi-layer, software-defined networking, mobile anyhow, and enterprise services virtualization with network function virtualization, and vCPE SD-WAN. Team is in ongoing collaboration in areas of network programmability, visibility, telemetry, and automation. So I believe you can read the rest in the portal, but I would like to invite Tim to provide us some keynotes here.